let me say good morning and welcome to our listeners and viewers this morning to Classic Radio and GBN TV. It's Thursday, the 31st of August, 2023. Good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point. I'm your host, GT. I'll be around with you for the next hour, alongside, of course, Corporal Mclean is with me this morning. And on Thursdays, usually we entertain the Royal Grenada Police Force, various departments within, and we have the Community Relations Department with us this morning. Let me go over and say good morning to Corporal Mclean. Corporal Mclean, good morning, and how are you?
Good morning, GT. I'm wonderful. I'm fine. I'm excited. All the good adjectives you can get to use, the good feelings this morning.
I'm certainly happy to hear that. Yes. I wish I was in the same domain as you this morning. I'm okay, but sometimes you're still not okay for some reason.
Yes.
You know, that kind of a balance.
Yes. So it's a pleasure to be here this morning.
All right.
Yes, we're excited for the reopening of school.
Yes.
It's been 2 months. We miss all his friends. Yeah, we usually have a weekly encounter with our schools, and it has been 2 months we have not had that encounter, and we are anticipating the opening of school. Return.
And that's where our conversation is going to lead this one. We're talking back to school, and it's a time that we youngsters are heading back, as you mentioned, not seeing their friends and so forth for a long time. Probably for some reason they may not have even visited the school for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Some may be going to new schools.
Yeah.
Some will be probably have promoted to new classes. So some difference is going to be applied.
Yeah.
For the upcoming school term. And so this morning our focus is going to be on back to school. We're going to kick off our conversation this morning in terms of responsibilities, and it's a key word in between there, especially when it comes to parents and students. There's the responsibility in terms of how especially when we talk for the students, how they carry themselves. You understand the things that they will do in terms of heading back to school. Things that they should remember. All of that along that line. That's what we're going to be speaking of this morning. Let's kick it off with responsibilities of both for the parents and students. When the Community Relations Department speak of responsibility, where does that? How along the lines does that go?
Okay, so it's not necessarily the Community Relations Department, but I want to quote a section of the Education Act.
Okay.
That speaks to responsibilities of parents and students. So initially, like a preamble, every child in our country, in the child and states of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, they're entitled to an education that is appropriate to their needs, right?
Yes.
And according to that act, every student who is enrolled at an institution, whether it is a public school, a private school, or that person has been authorized to be homeschooled, all students, should be responsible. So every student who is enrolled in a public education institution or assisted private school should observe any code of conduct for any student and other rules and policies specified by the Ministry of Education. They must attend classes regularly and punctually. They must participate in the educational programs in which the student is enrolled. They must be diligent in pursuing the prescribed curriculum, and subject to A, that I listed earlier, which speaks to the code of conduct, they are to observe standards set by the principal in relation to their cleanliness and tidiness, in relation to their general deportment, their attire, their courtesy, and their respect for the rights of other persons. So sometimes, GT, we would have, during our encounters with schools, we would have a number of issues emanating from between maybe teachers and parents, or teachers and students, in relation to children following the rules of the institutions. And we want to remind parents, remind students that institutions are run by rules. If you don't have rules in any established institution, it will be chaos.
So true.
It will be chaotic, and we want to avoid such instances and these unwanted practices. So we just want to encourage persons, be aware of the rules and abide by the rules that are laid out before us, right?
Right.
So sometimes you may hear, the principal don't want me to cut my child hair, or the principal don't want me to wear a particular something with the uniform, or you want to adjust the uniform to your fancy. You don't want to go along with some particular rule.
This conversation is kind of geared towards the parents,
right?
Geared to parents in terms of how they want to allow their sons or daughters to go to school.
Well, parents and students as well too, because children do their own thing.
Make their own adjustments.
Sometimes they go in the pants foot. Parents not aware. Parents probably not even paying attention to that. So both parents and students.
I think I did that,
Yeah, so you may adjust the skirt length, different things. So you have the rules. They are there to guide you to ensure that you stay on the correct path and all of that. So we just want to encourage them to be mindful of the rules and abide by them. Students are expected to be accountable. They are expected to be accountable to their teacher while they are on the school premises during school hours, or whenever a teacher is in charge of a outing. So whether they're going to do some field visits, some field trips, some sporting activity, you are expected to be accountable to your teacher. They are also expected to be accountable to the principal for the general deportment, as I said earlier, right? So on that point, there is a particular, every time I read this particular section of the Education Act, it takes me back to another section of the Child Protection and Adoption Act that basically mandates teachers, principals, and other people in authority who may be in care of children or have children under their care for a specified time. It really mandates them to be on their P's and their Q's, to be monitoring children, to bring to the attention of the Child Protection Authority or the police any issue that comes to their attention, whether it is from the child or otherwise. It mandates them to take certain action, and if they fail to take certain actions, they can be held liable criminally, right?
Okay.
So this piece here, where a teacher is responsible for a student during the school hours, during a school activity, whether it is outside of the school hours, it puts them in a very tight pants, and we expect children to be cooperative with their teachers, because in the end, probably it can end ugly for the teacher or that principal.
So what this section of the Act is actually saying, once a child is in school, it is a responsibility of the teacher.
Right, so let me just read it exactly. So it says a student is accountable to the relevant teacher for his or her conduct on school premises during school hours, and whenever a teacher is in charge of the student while engaged in authorized school activities conducted outside of school hours.
All right. So which means one of the students get involved in some form of activity that the teacher is in charge of. Maybe on an outing, they go steal something, just for example.
Right.
It is responsible of the teacher, or the responsibility would be borne on the teacher.
Right. Well, it depends on the circumstances.
I mean, on the standard circumstances,
right. But and B of that same of that same section says that to the principal, they're expected to be accountable to the principal for his or her general deportment at any time that he or she is under the supervision of the school and members of the teaching staff, including any time spent in traveling between the school and his or her place of residence. So sometimes we may see, for example, intercall.
Yeah.
And usually there are a number of teachers and assistants and so on within the bleacher area where children are kept and so on, because it is considered an authorized school activity, an authorized school event.
Some see this a normal school day.
Right.
At some point, to a point.
So they have a responsibility to ensure that these children are in good standing.
All right. Something that you said in the earlier section that sort of tickled my mind a wee bit in terms of from the Education Act, when you say that all children should be in school.
Well, they're entitled to an education. They're
entitled to an education. So which means that it goes back to that of the parent, when say they're entitled. So if a child decides that I don't want to be and having an education for some reason or the other, the Education Act could be mandatory. Well,
as some programs are back, a couple weeks back, when the school attendance officer was here, that is one of their functions. So there are children who blatantly don't go to school and the parents have no control over them, or there are children who, based on the circumstances, they're not in a position to attend school. So sometimes other arms or agencies such as the social development or the Child Protection Authority, school attendance officers will have to get involved to remedy whatever situation, whether it's a financial issue or some other issue. They would usually step in to assist. But in terms of even in terms of children and parents blatantly refusing to send them to school, these arms can also step in to intervene.
All right. Now, let's give, is there more responsibilities from the Education Act and from the CRD department that you would like to share with us?
Well, in relation to responsibilities, I'm still under responsibilities, and I want to, before I go on to the parents, let me just poke in these two pieces of responsibilities of students. In relation to property, damage to property, a student in an educational institution must take good care of any public property placed at that student's disposal, and if such property is to be returned, the property must be returned in good condition on a day and time determined by the principal.
Okay.
Right? And if that student so fails to comply with it, then other action can be taken, maybe against the parent if the student is a minor, or if the student is over 18 and they do not have a sponsor, it is against that particular student, right? So they have a responsibility to care for things that are placed in there.
All right. Are we talking more in terms of responsibility of the school?
Of the student in relation to items that are at their disposal. So for example, we're distributing tablets to children.
Okay,
right?
okay.
So you have a responsibility. Parents have a responsibility as well, because if you allow that child to damage that property, then you stand liable.
You bear the cost. All right. Okay, great.
In relation to rights, everybody has their rights. So in accordance to Section 10 of our Constitution, we all have our rights, right? So students also have their rights.
Yeah.
So they have their rights to express any religious, political, moral, or other belief or opinion, so long as the expression does not adversely affect the rights or education of other students or the rights of other persons in the school.
Okay.
And that is important, GT, because everybody nowadays like to talk about their rights.
Yes. And you spoke a while ago in terms of not wanting to cut their hair and all of that.
Right.
Is that deemed in terms of their rights also?
Well, right. But it comes back now. You have to have justification for whatever you choose to do. So you don't just blatantly, you're right. So if I am Rastafarian and my child have the locks because of their religious practices, because of their religion, I would have to justify that. I would have to show just cause in writing to the principal that my child is Rastafarian or my child is Muslim or whatever the case may be.
So they need to wear hair covering.
Yeah, so I submit something in writing to the principal. You don't just walk in and do as you wish or do as you please, right? So you get the authorization. And
you don't leave it up to the principal to determine, well, I'm assuming you're Rastafarian and I'm assuming you because I see your dress code, so I don't need to ask a question. You understand?
Right. All right. So you do that, you need to get the clearance from the authorities because you don't want to infringe upon the rights of other people.
Exactly.
You have your rights.
It could be other people in the school may not be happy with that, you know.
So you have your rights.
Some other parent may say, well, I don't want my son or daughter associating for some reason or the other, but it's also your right for that purposes also.
So you also don't want to, right, great. So in relation to parents' rights and responsibilities, I'm quoting from the same act again, parents also have a right to ensure that their children receive compulsory schools receive an education, whether it is in a public school, a private school, or home school in accordance with getting the necessary permission from the Ministry of Education to homeschool that child. Parents of children under the age of 18 years who is attending an educational institution, they are to be informed of the progress, behavior, and attendance of their child. And I'm happy that the Act specified this because we have a challenge where a number of parents, they don't take, well, not a great number. They don't take a keen interest in their children's education, their children's progress.
Can care less if how their children perform. All they know, they basically send them to school, and that basically they are not sure of their performance and so forth.
And what we see happening is, in most instances, it's children who are having issues, or for want of a better term, are troublemakers, right? So we see that they don't really get that kind of parental support. You would call them into PTA meetings or maybe one-on-one, and they do not attend.
They do not show up.
They do not show up. So sometimes we, as the police force, we would go into schools and we would have these presentations geared to assist parents with children and how to go about with certain things, and they are missing out on this vital information because they're not a part of it, they're not interested. Sometimes we will take time out from our schedule to be a part of the one-on-one sessions. Some parents show up, but there are instances that others don't, and we're kind of concerned about that as well.
So how could that be dealt with in terms of parents who show minimal interest in terms of the overall education of their children, from the CRD point of view, even from the Ministry of Education point of view?
Well, that would then, when we have exhausted, so when the principal or so may call us in and ask us for assistance in speaking to children based on the nature of the incident, because we would not go to the schools for everything, because there are things that do not require the attention of law enforcement, because there are things that
could be resolved
right, without the police getting involved. There's other social issues that the police don't get involved in at all, right? So once it is a matter that is stuck at a particular point, then other agencies, as I said earlier, would kick in.
Okay.
So we have the school attendance officers, you have the Child Protection Authority and other places, and if a child is not in a place that is conducive for them or is assisting them or all these things, then the Child Protection Authority has certain rights, and we would get more in depth with the Child Protection Authority in a subsequent program, because we have them coming up very soon to come and speak to all that they do and their rights and so on.
Understandable.
So in relation to rights and responsibilities of parents, they are on parents are expected to do the following. They are in relation to their responsibilities. They are to question their children when they return from school. They are to not force their children to go with anybody that they're not comfortable with. They need to be watchful of people, adults and maybe younger persons who their children are fond of. Because what we see happening in most instances, people will groom children. They would buy them all these nice gadgets and so on, and have them get comfortable with them, preparing them for violating them.
Knowing and unknowingly to parents sometimes.
Right. We advise parents to report anyone that their child complain about. So sometimes you may think, well, I don't believe that story, or maybe that child is so small to be. Maybe they're just making that.
That individual is too nice of an
that person can't do that, man. They're too innocent. They're cool. They barely talk. You judge people like that without really fact checking the information that the child gives to you. So you want to advise parents, report anyone. It could be whoever, person in society, whoever it is, report that person. Let the police take a look at it. Let us see whether the information is factual or not. Let us look at it. It is better to be safe than sorry.
Agree.
We want to advise parents to activate or install parental control on the children's devices, and to also monitor the activities of children online. And this too is a subsequent program. We'll go more in depth with it, because we will have the digital forensic unit coming on to speak more in depth about child safety online. And while I'm on the point of parental control and locks and so on devices, our children now are very talented, GT.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
I have two youngsters who challenges me a whole lot to that.
Yeah, they're smart. Yeah. They know a lot about the devices. So we've had reports where students are breaking the codes on devices.
I know, as technically inclined as I am,
yes.
I do have a challenge with two, a 5 and a 7-year-old.
Wow. So you see, you understand exactly where I'm coming from.
In terms of how they figure things out, sometimes it stuns me. Hey, how do you figure that out? You understand?
So it is amazing how talented they are, how easily they pick things up. We've had reports where children are breaking codes on computers, on tablets.
It's true, and I've seen it myself.
So since we have children who are breaking codes, we're asking parents to monitor what they're doing on the devices, because we've had reports of children downloading pornographic content, sharing it to their peers when they go to school, may show it to their friend they meet. So your child may not have broken the code to their device, or they may not have downloaded pornographic content, but they're exposed to it because other children who are so talented.
Youngsters are very observant to this. Very, very observant.
What something that stood out to me, and I would never forget that throughout my entire policing life. There is a particular instance where a student of a primary school broke the code of his teacher's computer from her home.
Yeah.
And he was able to manipulate her system from wherever he was. Primary school I'm talking about. And it is amazing. So that's why we were advising parents to monitor what their children are doing online. We want you to look at any of the the games and apps and so on before you purchase them. Peruse them carefully, and anything that you think could threaten your child's sanity, we want you to blacklist
Always
them.
try to get reviews from other parents who may have observed something that is not of a normal nature in terms of your son or daughter being part of that particular game or whatever the device they're using, especially when they're able to go online. There's always those reviews that you follow through from people who may have problems with it before.
Precisely.
You know.
We also want to encourage parents to speak to their children and let them understand the value of standing out, standing apart, standing aside, standing tall, up away from the crowd. You don't have to be a follower, you can be a leader. You know, you don't have to do what your friend does. So you can be different, right? And we want to also encourage parents to understand the right values of sex. Gone are the days when we tell children that they fall from the sky or they fall from some tree or some kind of Nancy story like that.
I was told a truck brought, you know.
A truck. This is the first time I'm hearing such. So gone are the days when you can make these stories up and tell children because
it was brought by the truck. I was told that when I was a young. I always laugh at that. You know?
Yes, so gone are the days. So we advise you to have the conversations with your children because it is better that you teach them the right thing than they learn it from some other person or they learn it online,
which we're told and they may be told to them inappropriately.
You understand, so it would be
that.
best that parents take that initiative and assist their children. Parents need to let their children know when they are wrong.
Yes,
you need to be firm with them and you need to correct them in love. So children can be spoken to when they are wrong firmly. You're not going to be joking about it. You're not going to be laughing about it as if you're a friend when you're correcting them. You're going to correct them as a parent in love.
Yes. Yeah.
You can scold children. We're not going to tell you abuse them to take a cutlass and
you don't have to be totally physical.
No,
you know.
But you need to scold them. You're not going to abuse them so the police has to come for you. Right?
I understand.
But you can scold them. You can put them in timeout. You can put them in punishment. You can take away their devices. You can take away things that they comfort them.
I like to say you have to, as a parent, you need to take charge.
Yes, you have to take charge.
Let them know that you are in charge of whatever they have and whatever they do in their life at that particular age that they are.
Yes,
you know,
and
I like to say the charge.
When you're taking charge and you're being firm about it and you're not turning it into a laughing matter or a joke or something, that you do it firm, you stand firm, and that you remind them that you love them, but you're doing that in their best interest. Right?
We due for a break, you know. Corporal Mclean, we could be speaking a whole lot. We've been speaking for the last 25 minutes. We due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue, of course, in terms of the responsibility of parents. We also want to be speaking about respect to persons in authority, and that is another interesting subject line that we certainly will have to focus a whole lot when we come back. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio and GBN TV.
More chances to multiply your Playway winnings by adding Multi-X to your regular Playway bets to win up to 5 times more. Imagine winning as much as $1,200 instead of $240 with a $10 Playway bet by simply adding Multi-X. Place your Playway bets from $1 to $10 or in increments on your favorite Playway symbols or numbers. Then add the Multi-X option at the same value to win 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more. Or free plays. With Multi-X, you must bet the same amount wagered on your regular Playway bets for your winnings to be multiplied. Grenadians, value your dreams and win your way as much as 5 times more. With Multi-X added to Playway and watch your money grow. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
The Grenada Dental Association, with support from the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, Great Shape Inc., Spice Isle Smiles Foundation, and Sandals Foundation, present Seal Grenada, sealing children's permanent teeth between the ages of 6 to 18, from August the 28th to September the 1st, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily at the current government school in St. David. For more information, call 421-6021. Seal today. Prevent decay tomorrow.
The Ministry Ministry of Tourism and Economic Development and the Grenada Tourism Authority extend a warm welcome to visitors and returning nationals visiting for Carnival and summer vacation. We do hope you enjoy your stay with us, and we invite you to return with friends and family to celebrate our 50th anniversary of independence on 7th February 2024. Tourism is my business, your business, our business.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back, listeners. This is To The Point for today, Thursday, the 31st of August. And we have with me this morning Corporal Mclean. Welcome back. Corporal Mclean, we're going to continue in terms of the responsibilities here, because I think there's a lot from the Act that you've been reading about. And we're also going to take a shift also after you finish reading of that in terms of the information from the Act, that especially in terms of responsibilities of parents. Let's continue on the responsibilities of parents that parents should be responsible for in their sons and daughters in terms of heading back to school. Then we switch to that thing in terms of respect, that other subject matter, I should say, in respect to authority, which is, I think, is another important subject matter we did. Let's continue with some of the.
So in relation to some of the safety, because we want to share a lot of information this morning, and we hope that the information that we share would not just remain with you, but you would really take that information and sink it into your child's daily routine. We want to, as you said earlier in the program, a number of students are going to probably new schools or new areas, and we want to ensure parents that you have your children know the correct buses to take for that particular route that they're going to and from school with, right?
Yes.
We want to encourage children to not loiter before school and after school.
All right.
Before school and after school, because we have seen it, especially in the towns. Children, they're not busy to go to school. They're not moving with any sense of purpose to get to school on mornings. They take their time, they're casual, they would go into the stores or the supermarkets, and they're just not busy about getting into the schoolhouse.
I have noticed that. Sometimes you're driving along and you see maybe it's 8:30 or even after 9, and you're watching the youngsters who are just taking their good time scrolling to school, and you wonder, what is the reason for that? Okay, you know, sometimes parents have to leave home before their sons and daughters. Yeah. You understand? And you're thinking, well, I'm leaving home at 7 o'clock, and, you know, they may have to leave for about 8:30 to get to school. And sometimes they're at 9:30, trying to just walk it in. Yeah. With no care.
Right, exactly, that's the case. So we want parents to ensure that they encourage their children against loitering. We want them to, you could do checks in their bags. Yes, we have security at schools, and sometimes the amount of children, they may not be able to check every single bag or check every single student. So we want parents to ensure that their children do not go to school with anything that can be used as a weapon or that can be used to harm other people. Because we've had instances, again, GT, where we've confiscated weapons from children, their bags and so on. We want to advise parents to advise your children to not walk alone from school. Walk in groups or with a trusted schoolmate. Okay. Avoid lonely areas. Do not consume alcohol, smoke any substance. Do not vape, because these are all things that are happened.
Yes.
The information that I'm sharing here is not anything that I sat and just came up with.
For you on your own account, no?
No. This is information. This is things that we encounter, because from our end at the Community Relations Department, we do our weekly visits to different schools. We take our school visits so serious that we plan ahead.
Is there an age range that you've been seeing these incidents happening with them? Or is it mostly the secondary, or is it that to the long term, maybe some students in the primary level?
Well, GT, the surprising thing is in the years gone by, you would have most of the complaints from the secondary school.
Yes.
But now it is between the primary and secondary schools. All and right. Sometimes some of the complaints from the primary schools are even worse than the secondary. Wow. Yes, so we want to encourage your children to not consume any alcohol, not smoke, because some of them they do these things and they pressure their mates into doing it as well.
Yep.
Just give it a little try.
Yeah.
Don't do anything, you know. So, and children who are,
and there are youngsters who can manipulate others easily.
Right, and they would fall into such traps. We want to discourage our children from engaging in sexual activities. Sexual activities cannot only lead to pregnancy or contracting STIs or STDs. It can also lead to other damaging effects. Do not skip school for any particular reason. Children should be told you leave home, you go to the schoolhouse. You're not going to leave home dressed in your uniform and the police have to find you behind fort charge, or we have to find you in some inappropriate place in your full uniform. Just go to school, get your education. Do not allow anyone to touch them inappropriately, or whether it's in their private parts or whether they're rubbing them in this kind of seductive manner. Do not allow anyone to touch you inappropriately. And anybody who does so or who violates any child, we encourage them to report it immediately. Do not sit on anyone's lap, and do not allow adults to refer to your children inappropriately. We have some adults who love to refer to children as their wives or their husband, their boyfriend, their girlfriend.
That's inappropriate language in terms of speaking. Don't encourage that.
No, so that can lead back to grooming. You start preparing them to, be that kind of person to you. So we want to advise parents to share all this information with your children and ensure that they're protected for this new school year.
All right. Interestingly so. I mean, this information is very fruitful for parents, because there are probably a parent who is probably sitting at home listening to us this morning and maybe have never given thought to speaking to their sons and daughters about these issues for whatever reason. We understand how folks are busy these days, especially parents who, especially when you twinkle down to single parents. The time just does not permit. But we are encouraging you to make the time to speak to your sons and daughters about that, because it can make a difference in their life moving forward.
Of course it can.
Make a lot of difference in their life moving forward.
Of course it can. It encourages, and we want you to start it from young. So it encourages the children to be comfortable with you.
And they're open to having conversation.
They're open to telling you stuff. They're open to telling you how their day was, what happened that they weren't comfortable with during the day. So we want to encourage you to start it from early. Even if they can't speak, have conversations with them. They're growing accustomed to hearing mommy always showing that kind of interest. Even if you're a single parent, it doesn't take much time. You could put aside 5 or 10 minutes to ensure that your child is safe.
And it just changes the whole concept of youngsters' life today, because as I said, a lot of parents are so busy that time for conversation is the least thing that they have, especially with their children. So taking a minute or 2, 5, 10 minutes, you understand, instead of you getting on the phone and talk to a friend, spend that 10 minutes talking to your son or daughter, and it certainly make a whole lot of difference.
Yes, and GT, while we know parents have the main responsibility and the key responsibility in bringing up their children, there are other people who are trying as well. So we have teachers, we have counselors, we have school attendance officers, we have police, we have a number of other agencies within the country who assist parents with that. I mean, the buck does not really stop with us, but we are assisting, and we just want the parents to complement what we're doing.
All right, but the chief conversation should always start with the parents.
It should start at home. Everything should start at home. As the saying goes, charity begins
at home. All right, I want us to switch the conversation a little bit this morning, because it's something that I pay a lot of attention to, and I would like some more information in terms of from the CRD department to share with especially this morning in terms of respect to to authority. You understand? Respect to persons in authority, especially for youngsters these days. Respect for the police, for one, their teachers, even their peers.
Even their parents.
Because I know of youngsters who have minimal respect for parents for some reason. I've listened to youngsters speaking to their parents, and I'm wondering who's a parent and who's a child sometimes. And then you know what the spin-off is like now. If that attitude starts at home, it spins off into the school.
into the society.
Into the school, into the society. And they feel, well, I can talk to someone by the road. You know, I remember as youngsters, you know, as a youngster, if I do something and an adult will tell me, no, I'll go report it to my parents. No, it's sort of impossible for that to happen.
Yeah.
It's impossible for that to happen. You know, folks would not even dare go tell a parent something about their son or daughter because they will be, you know, tell off, as they would say.
Yeah, there's a massive breakdown in relation to that. People can hardly complain to parents. Some parents know about their children. They get defensive.
Yes.
They just jump into defense mode right away, and that kind of defeats the purpose. But over the last year, GT, with the advent of social media, increasing popularity of social media and smartphones and all of that, we've seen a lot of disturbing videos, footage, and we're noticing a disturbing trend with children engaging in infractions, whether it's chopping, fights, a lot of things that are concerning to us. We've seen it, and we are here to ask early before the school term begins. We are asking parents, we are asking students, we are asking teachers to have the conversation in the classroom that children ought to be taught to have respect for people in authority. They need to be trained to respect persons in authority, right? You have to encourage them, you have to groom them from now to be courteous and to be kind, to be respectful to people, right? To be respectful. In the absence of parents, we have teachers, we have police officers, we have social workers, we have other auxiliary staff at the school. It's not just the teachers at the school. We have cooks, we have security, we have cleaners, we have different people at the school. And children ought to be taught to have respect for everyone in authority.
Yes.
Irrespective of what, you ought to be taught. You don't look down, not because somebody is a cleaner. You would have respect for the teacher and you won't have respect for the cleaner.
Yeah, well, he's cleaning the bathroom in the school, so I could care less about having respect for him.
No.
You know, he's a janitor around the school, so I could care him or her, you know, have respect for him, but respect should go across the board.
Across the board. And we just want to encourage it. We do it from time to time because we have, when we get complaints, we would, even outside of getting complaints, there are times parents would walk into the office and they would say, I'm having a challenge with this child. Officer, please help us. Help me. And sometimes a child may be having some difficulty. They're not comfortable to speak to the parents about it. And they probably just need some listening ear or some kind of guidance. And once they receive that, we've noted children who have shown changes, right? So once you give them that listening ear, you give them an opportunity to express themselves, to say, what issue they're having that is causing them to react in such a manner, to behave in such a manner. You will be amazed as to what simple little issue that child needs some assistance with. And once that is remedied, it's a totally different child. So sometimes we come down on them a bit and we don't really guide them, we don't really help them. And sometimes that is what most children need. They just need that kind of guidance.
Yeah, and sometimes they're not getting it from home,
Right.
You know, so that's, and then I understand, sometimes there are parents who are trying their best also. Because, you know, there are youngsters who may get to that rebellious age.
Yes.
And for some reason, they may not want to listen to their parents, even though their parents may have taught them.
Yeah.
You understand? To have respect.
Yeah.
And then they associate with their peers, and even the way social media is offering things these days.
Yeah, they're pressured.
They are pressured into not following the values that they were actually taught. You understand?
On that note, I just remembered. Listen, sometimes their parents, they're so innocent. When you bring to their attention the kind of things that their children are doing,
They're shocked.
They're shocked. They could never believe that my child.
Yeah.
Really?
But sometimes you look at behaviors that parents do accept in terms of their children's behavior. Sometimes I look at little 3- and 4-year-old, you know, saying certain words and stuff, and sometimes back then, you know, they say, no, just leave them alone, they're going to forget it. But I have a different point of view towards it. I think you should let them know what they're doing is wrong at early o'clock. You understand?
Because they're learning from such a young age. Listen, from our end, we do visits on a weekly basis, right? And we don't just visit the primary and secondary schools. We go to daycares.
Yes.
We go to preschools, we go to primary schools, we go to secondary schools. And even at the daycare, they're able to identify the police. Right? They may not be able to grasp as much, but they they're getting something. You can tell.
Yes.
Right? From their engagement. You could feel it, you can experience it. When we go to the pre-primary level, we would share information to them based on their level. And it is amazing. Sometimes you may think, well, okay, they would just get the information there and that will be it. But when you get the reviews, GT, and parents are calling to say, well, my child said the police was at school today, and I'm trying to bathe my child, and he's saying to me, the police said there's a bad touch. Don't touch my penis. Or don't touch my vagina. Or daddy or uncle or sister should not bathe me. Only mommy should bathe me and touch me in a particular area. So when we get these kind of reviews, it is amazing, and we appreciate it because it shows that learning is taking place.
Yes.
And the children are actually putting what they learn into practice.
So good to know that. So at least good to know that. Hey, but don't forget, viewers and listeners out there, if you do have a question or two, or you probably have, of course, a statement you want to make, and that, an opinion, you could please share that. 435-2041. Let's go to another subject line this morning in terms of the safety points when traveling to and from school. You did give a little some pointers on that already.
So I'd like to just go on to some of the offenses that children commit.
Go right ahead.
So from time to time, we've had children of different ages being arrested and charged. Children are also victims of crime, but they also commit crimes, right? So we have areas such as assaults, obscene, insulting language, threatening language, damage to property, a lot of fighting, disorderly behavior, possession of offensive weapons, and the sexual offenses such as the rape and the sexual assaults and so on. And on the notes of on the offensive weapons, I remember sometime last year I went to do a presentation at a school, but it was not to students, it was to parents at a PTA meeting, and I carried along board depicting some of the weapons that we would usually get. And parents were shocked to know that my child has
Why would my son also be carrying half of that with him? I'm carrying that to school.
Yeah. So sometimes when we do some of the pop-up checks at schools, we would receive some of these instruments. Sometimes we take photographs of it and share it so people can be aware of some of the instruments that children are using as dangerous weapons, offensive weapons at school. So these are some of the prevalent offenses that minors commit.
All right. We do have a caller that seemed to want to get on board for a while now. Let's entertain this caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, GT, and good morning to your guest. Just a comment I want to make, you're listening to a lot of things that are saying, and that's the second time I'm hearing a program like this. I could listen on the radio station, very same thing. But I would like to advise the constable may agree or disagree, people may agree disagree. I think the primary thing that we need is to first of all recognize who we are as human beings and go back to our root, our connection. And that connection is with the Lord Jesus Christ. Now, if we train our children from small, as in Deuteronomy, it says, this book of the law, referring to the Bible, shall be in thine heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your children. So talk of them when you lie down, when you rise up, when you go in, when you come out. Teach the children about God. Not about religion, not about denomination, not about church, but about God and them, that God created them, and what God should mean to them, and how they should relate to that God. And that God is a protector, is a deliverer, is a healer. He's everything. So that they can be protected and they can hold on to that throughout the whole life. It's not about denomination, but about Christ. And they should know that. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. Corporal Mclean, as we move on this morning, we still do have a lot to talk about. Time is suddenly creeping up on us just a wee bit. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Program this morning. Good program. Regarding the respect for authority and civics and so, I think maybe some of the activities that we used to do in olden times when I was at school, with the primary and secondary school, we used to have what is called Courtesy Week. So the train will be taught, and it will be in action, showing what is courtesy and, various activities to get them involved so they can practice what they learn. I know it is modern days, but courtesy is always is not something in the past. It can continue. So that's what my suggestion is. They can bring back things like Courtesy Week, maybe in the HFLE subject area. Thank you.
Thank you, Kola. Thank you so much. It's not bad of a point.
No.
Not bad of a point at all.
From suggestion.
So it's really good. 435-2041. We didn't get to talk much on the encouraging victims of crime to come forward and report such matters, because sometimes things do happen from time to time. Parents may know about it. You understand? Or maybe, their sons or daughter may speak to them about it, but for some reason or the other, they don't report it. And you're suggesting that they should always come out and speak to the police, or speak to someone in authority, speak to the principal, speak to their teacher, about issues that may have occurred that for some reason they may not have wanted to.
Yes. So we always do that. Whenever we get an opportunity to have a program in relation to children and the issues that they face, the challenges that they face, we always make that call. Sometimes a child may not trust, or they're afraid. There are children who are afraid of their parents. Yeah. They are afraid of the reaction that they may get, the manner in which the parent may handle the information, and they're afraid to share that information with them. If you're afraid of sharing that information with your parents, you must have a trusted adult that you can share that information with that can get you the help. We also encourage you can call the Special Victims Unit. They're one phone call away. You can just call 400. You don't have to have credit on your cell phone or anything like that. Just
400.
Call 400, and you get onto the Special Victims Unit. If you want, you can call 911, and you can share the information. It's police officers on the other line.
Yes.
You can share that information, but we don't want anyone to feel that they're not worthy, or if you report something that you would be looked at in a particular manner. We want to get you that help while it is early, so that you can live a normal life. You would not have these bad memories and so on to live with. You can get correct counseling, the appropriate help for whatever you may have encountered. So we just want to encourage children, do not be afraid.
Don't hold on
to anything. If the police, when we come into schools from next week, and you have an issue and you want to say to me or any of the other officers, if you trust us or so, pull us aside and we will deal with it discreetly.
Certainly feel free to do so.
Feel free to do so, and we will handle it discreetly for you.
Caller, good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
To you, sir.
Every one of us, Balin, teach the people, teach the children. When you teach, you must first of all guarantee that the people learn. This is what's important. So how do we assess if they have learned? Maybe by putting what we taught them into practice. If this lady is doing a good job, but I'm wondering if she put up, or if she has really organized in many instances into schools and perhaps taking class by class and having parents come to attend some particular, having the children come to accompany the parents in that particular class, whether grade 1, grade 2, whether it be secondary school or primary school. This could be a good thing. It's not talking, even though most of the parents or most of us, although I'm at home now, are at work. So those who perhaps need the help getting the good, many people accept. They're not thinking of what.
Caller, for some reason or the other, we're losing you from time to time. I'm not sure if it's your connection is broken up from time to time. So maybe I kind of gasp what he's trying to speak of, in terms of, as he mentioned in the latter part of it, what he was saying that, maybe who should be receiving this information this month, maybe he's not at home.
And that's what we see happening.
To understand or to receive what we're saying, understand to get the relative.
The programs are streamed on social media.
Yes, so
everybody's on social media, so you can always check back and look at the program
look at it again.
And get the information.
All right, let's take another caller. Caller, good morning, welcome.
Yes, good morning to you and good morning to your guests. I just want to applaud your guests for doing a wonderful job. Keep it up.
All right, thank you, caller. Thank you so much. 435-2041. 10 minutes left on today's program. It's to the point, and we have Corporal Mclean with us this morning, Community Relations Department.
Yeah. So in relation, I just want to plug in this here before 10 minutes runs out. We have, as we were encouraging victims of crime, sometimes GT we may think that strangers commit crimes against children. In most instances, that is not the case. In most instances, it is somebody who is known to that child.
Yes.
Right? We spoke about responsibility of children. We spoke about responsibility of parents. We spoke about responsibility of people in authority. We spoke of where they should be mandated to do certain things once they know that a child is exposed. So parents as well, or guardians, can also be held liable for committing crimes against children. And some of the offenses that we really see parents or guardians or children, persons in authority whose care a child was entrusted in are being charged for are some of the sexual offenses such as incest, carnal knowledge of a stepchild or a dependent.
Yes.
We have where parents permit or they aid in the defilement of a young female, so you know it's happening, you allow it to go on, or you assist that crime to happen against that child
for various reasons.
Yes, you expose a child maybe to grievous harm, and a number of different offenses. Some of the minor offenses like the assaults and so on, parents are usually charged from time to time for committing these against children.
All right. Certainly hope that folks are grasping onto the information that we're throwing out this morning, because it is important for, of course, to the safety of youngsters. Of course, they are the future of this wonderful island, and youngsters being able to grow up and not having their minds bombarded with the wrong information and getting into the wrong situations could make a whole lot of difference for this beautiful island of ours. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Hi, good morning. I just want to give a little suggestion in the school. Like the children who are like to bully and angry, you have a class course for in a boxing ring like. So you have a good coach to teach boxing, and especially the angry ones, you target them to take this course. So sometimes that might help them when they come out and exercise in the boxing ring. They might be so tired, they may go home straight, and that might help them with their bullying mentally.
All right, thank you, caller.
Okay, Jiti, that sounds crazy, but what's crazy?
It's a way of letting out your aggression. I understand what she's trying to say.
Yeah, we have to find different means to channel children's energy. Remember, I was speaking about the talent, about the youngsters at the primary school who's breaking codes and getting into systems and all of that. I'm saying that they're talented. I'm not going to demonize them or say that they're bad, right? We just need to find a way to channel that talent. So, in a sense, children who are bullies, I understand she's talking about the boxing ring. You may not have to be that, but we can find other means and other ways of
some way of challenging their energy into something.
Channeling their energy.
A bit of a distraction from bullying and distract them to do something else that may be meaningful.
Yes. So I do believe in channeling energy.
All right. Yes. That's certainly understandable. Yes. 5 minutes left on today's program. We still can accommodate another call. With all of we have spoken about this morning, one of the key things that struck me is it goes back to responsibility of parents, because it leads for everything that a child may have done or is doing. If the responsibility of the parents is key, it always will deter them from doing anything that they will. So the responsibility of parents is always a key factor. Yes. You as a parent have to do your best in bringing up your son or daughter, teach them the correct values, and it could make a whole lot of difference in their life. All right, let's entertain another caller as we move on. Caller, good morning and welcome, please.
Yeah, morning GT and morning to the officer. Good program. I think we need more of those things, and we need them not just when school is about to open, but we need them all too, that people know the responsibility and also have to care for the children in a much more human and better way. But I want to make a suggestion to the officer, because I think I heard her, might be the same person on the clip, repeat the same thing this morning. And of course, he said, for want of a better word, she used the word troublemaker. Words are powerful. Maybe we need to say behavioral challenge children or something, or children who are given, who are having challenges, something like that. Because the message could get back to the child that he's a troublemaker, and that is what he would do. I hope she would take it in good faith. It's not a negative towards her, but we have to find more decent language. We are told, like, for instance, and she might not know of that because she's probably young, there was a guy in Trinidad called Abdul Malik. Well, he was living in England. And he said that his original name was Michael DeFreitas. And it was said that his mother always told him he would end up in the hangman's rope. And this is what happened. He killed Gillan Benson and Joseph Skerritt and buried them in Christina Garden in Arima in the early 70s. I'm just saying all of that to say we have to find a way to deal with the problem, but at the same time not to help to perpetrate or even create monsters as we do sometimes when we send youngsters to the prison. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. You want to respond?
Yeah, I did not call anyone a troublemaker. I said people who are considered troublemakers. And I did say, for want of a better term, in relation to having the programs more frequently, I agree to an extent, but we have to be mindful that we have other areas, other law enforcement areas that also needs attention.
Yes.
So as we're in the season of back to school, we began our back to school campaign last week. We had the special victims unit speaking about domestic violence, and we will continue maybe for the next 2 or 3 programs. So we'll have the digital forensic unit. They will come to speak about online safety. We will have the Child Protection Authority as well joining us on a subsequent program to speak about issues in relation to their operations in terms of children. And we're rolling right into October because Child Month is in October as well. So we would sort of roll into October. But we also need to bear in mind that there are other law enforcement challenges that needs addressing from time to time. So we cannot really stick to one particular subject area.
As important as that is, but
yes, as important as it is, we need to share information on other areas as well.
Corporal Mclean, let's get some closing comments from you this morning, because we did speak a whole lot this morning, especially in terms of going back to school responsibilities of parents and students as a whole. Any closing comments before we take a wrap this morning?
Okay, so I just want to say to our students that we're looking forward to their return from next week. It has been 2 long months, and that's too much of time away from our children. We've developed a very good relationship with most of them. We have gained their trust, and we want to continue working on that relationship that we've built with them. We're eager to meet them again. We're eager to hear all the stories from the holiday. We're eager to see them in their new bright, shiny uniforms
shiny
and hairstyles and everything. So it's just a really exciting moment, and we can't wait to meet them. We want to encourage parents to take the information that we shared here this morning, children as well, because we know that they are all over social media. Take the information, take it to heart, take it in good faith, and that we hope that the information will assist you in being safe and having a very, very successful school year.
All right.
We look forward to seeing you, and we love you.
All right. Corporal Mclean, thank you once again. Thank you so much for sharing information this morning, fruitful information, as I would say, and I certainly hope the folks who were listening and viewing will certainly take it and pass it on to others. You may say, you may know of an incident that are occurring, or you may know for some reason a parent may need assistance in terms of getting their son or daughter on the right track, and they may not have that strong ability. Not everyone has that strong ability as a parents to help to bring their son or daughter along on that right path.
Yeah, we need to get back to the community spirit.
Exactly, and if you could offer that assistance, please go ahead.
Parents
and
need to drop the defense mode when somebody is looking out for their child. They need to drop the defense mode.
So true. Thank you once again. Let me thank all the listeners and viewers who listened, and those of you who sat at home and viewed. Thank you so much for being part of To The Point this morning. Until we have another program, have yourself a great day, and goodbye.